Okay, I just wanted to quickly point out that the first lead that we're looking at on our screens has actually come from Hayaghat, which is in the Darbhanga region, and that's the first lead that's actually come for the BJP right now from this place. I think in 2015 this was a seat that went to the JDU. And this is the first lead that's come in for the BJP from Hayaghat. Nevertheless, it's the NDA that's got its first lead. To the point that Tuhin was making, Sanjay Singh, yes, one could say that in times of a pandemic or uncertain times, you would want to go with some certainty and what you already know than to go with the unknown. But the fact also could be that people still have their recent experiences which is fresh in their minds, which is also a lot to do with economic crisis, job loss, migration troubles, lockdown. And if that is the factor they want to judge the government on, then it may not go the same way.
See, my sense was if disenchantment, of course, that was there against Nitish Kumar, and great many people were actually very angry against Nitish Kumar. But if that anger, those who were very angry, I also know that they ultimately voted in favor of NDA because they were fearful of the alternate.
Right.
And my sense is if that anger was actually so widely percolated, then the voting percentage should have been much higher than it was. So therefore, I'm I would not go by the numbers that were shown as to 2/3 of majority for the Mahagathbandhan.
Right.
It would be a close election, I believe. The other factor which Vinay, before we went for the break, was talking about double engine and railways. Incidentally, we saw BJP spokesperson Anand Jha also talking about rail ka thing. So one little anecdotal thing about railways, and Tuhin was talking about developmental aspect and growth and so on. Bihar's fascination with railways began with Jagjeevan Ram. When he was railway minister, he quit Indira Gandhi government and joined Janata Party. So that, of course, since then, Lalit Narayan Mishra, Jagjeevan Ram, then all three players, two of them, one departed in the run-up of election, Ramvilas Paswan. He was railway minister. Lalu Prasad Yadav's railway minister. Nitish Kumar, railway minister. And in fact, Tejaswi, when he grew up, last part, NDA's Lalu Yadav 15-year rule that he said, last part was Lalu Yadav was as railway minister. Bihar being a backward state, railway was providing that connectivity to people, and also railway is only central ministry which has great deal of visibility, great deal of advertisement thing, and also great deal of potential to give actual jobs to people. That is in fact the only ministry. Therefore that fascination, double engine and these things वो सीधा correlate करता है ground पे, and therefore people talk about double engine and so on and so forth.
Just very quick update also, the second number has come in, and that's the lead for Mahagathbandhan. It's actually a lead for the RJD in the Bajpatti constituency in Tirhut region. So that's just the second lead that's just come in. Yes, Vinay.
No, just to add to what Sanjay was saying, fascination for railways, obviously it's a migrant state. Lot more people use the trains. How many states will you know where a train is actually named after probably one of the biggest socialist movements we had? Sampurna Kranti Express is named after the JP movement, so to speak, right? So the nationalization of the socialist movement that started from Bihar has found its place in Indian Railways as well. It still runs that train. So, I mean, that's
what that coin is. Nationalization of socialist movement actually is very interesting.
Well, let me also tell our viewers that just as the counting began about 20 odd minutes ago, Tej Pratap Yadav tweeted, and he tweeted saying Tejasvi Bhava Bihar. I don't know which one of you just wants to simplify it for our viewers.
That's an Ashirwad given by an elder. Not you don't give this Ashirwad to yourself.
Yes. So the elder brother is blessing his sibling on this day. How do we read this, Sanjay Singh?
Then actually people, it's actually the fear factor that was being talked about. Tej Pratap, in fact, the last Bihar Bandh, which of course had a very tepid response in Bihar, but Tejaswi was driving a tractor and Tej Pratap was sitting on top of that tractor. So if Tej Pratap is blessing his brother Tejaswi Bhava Bihar, so I don't know which role, if he is going to play that elder brother role in the government, if that at all
I
comes.
have a view on this, Mr. Mukherjee.
I have a slightly different take on two things.
Okay.
One is, the point, very important point which Tuhin raised, that go with the trusted one. The pandemic has not been just an ordinary event. It's been a life-defining moment for everybody, right? All of us in the studio, to everybody who has gone out to vote. I think the judgment, very strongly, the verdict will show, would be not on what you have done, but what you did.
That's right.
I think recent history is going to be more relevant. If not, then I think we have to go back and look at our copybooks to see that how do we do our political analysis. I think recent memory has possibly greater impact on voter behavior than other things. That is one point. The other is, no, it's very early to say, but I can say definitely that this is the opportunity that if it comes to the RJD and to Tejaswi, to break free from the mold of the Jungle Raj image, to break free from his father's shadow. You have to understand that much was said about how the RJD behaved in 2015, forcing Nitish to go out. Now that was very much the party of Lalu Yadav.
Right.
Today, the RJD is not Lalu Yadav's party. If Tejaswi gets an opportunity and if he realizes this, he has the opportunity to break free from a lot of things and become a leader of the future. Mind you, age is on his side. And at the moment, we keep on talking in terms of national alternative and, there is no alternative to BJP, to Mr. Modi, that he's invincible. I know that these are two very early stages, but at this point, when we are waiting for the trends to come,
Yeah.
we got to keep a very close track on what Tejaswi does in future, regardless of the verdict.
Just a quick update, the third seat is from Chhapra, that's now reporting.
Yeah.
CN Gupta is now leading according to the election.
Okay.
Yes, so from
See,
different
just one
regions
word
we are
on
getting
what
the
Nilanjan
leads are
said.
beginning to come in
Today's
now.
RJD is
But
not Lalu
if
Prasad.
I can just, because, and this will happen sometimes, we'll end up forgetting those panelists who are not with us in the studios, but I must go across to them. I know, Ananja, you want to make a point, but very quickly, let me get in a quick comment in from Mr. Sunil Ahire as well. Mr. Sunil Ahire, exit polls aside, the ones that have been reported by the media, what is the Mahagathbandhan's own estimate? Numbers are beginning to come in now. Where are you going to end up?
See, I agree with Mr. Mukhopadhyay. He has really got that point. And I think Tejaswi Yadav has also has done very good homework on that. The old things, I think people 15 years ago, which resonated that Lalu's was a jungle Raj, I think now it has been erased. And people are seeing Tejaswi as a new hope. Now, Tejaswi has done good homework. More than he has done 251 rallies, 19 rallies these days, one day, and Congress Party is hoping that the response which he got, and he able to resonate the failure of Nitish government. Also, that 10 lakh jobs was a mastercard from him, and there was a good combination between the Rahul Gandhi and Tejaswi and Congress Party, and we had set up the war room there. Our Randeep Singh Surjewala was given a charge of coordination with Tejaswi, all other parties. So we have done good homework. And secondly, this demonetization, which was wrongly handled, 15 lakh people, Biharis, has to walk thousands of kilometers. That is also has created a very anti-incumbency. Secondly, my dear friend was talking about development, road infrastructure, but it is not seen on ground. Modi ji has 5 years ago given 1 lakh crore, 1.25 lakh crore ऐसी बोली लगाई उन्होंने, लेकिन वो बोली जो है वो culminate नहीं हो पाई. It did not culminate into development. So that is this Bihar state is the most highest unemployment is there in Bihar. And migrant labors also is a big issue. Secondly, polarization this time did not work. And national ramification of economic crisis also has really hit the people. So we are hoping, Congress party is hoping a good result, and we are very much hopeful that this 31-year-old guy will take the baton in the hand. Congress party is thinking like that.
Okay, very quickly, Anand Jha wanted to make a point. Go ahead, please.
सुनील जी की बात अभी मैंने सुना। सुनील जी, राहुल गांधी जी का एक कुतोता होता है, अपने मालिक के इशारे पे या मालिक की बात को दोहराता है, तो वही राहुल गांधी की बात को डिमोनेटाइजेशन पर ले जा रहे हैं। दूसरी बात, तेजस्वी जी कह रहे हैं कि मतलब तेज प्रताप कह रहे हैं कि तेजस्वी भव बिहार। जो व्यक्ति खुद तेज नहीं हो, जिस व्यक्ति की तेजस्विता शून्य हो, वो तेजस्वी भव बिहार के बारे में कह रहे हैं, वो दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। तीसरी बात, अभी मुखोपाध्याय जी बोल रहे थे कि छवि से, लालू जी की छवि से बाहर निकल गया है और निकलने की बात कह रहे थे। आज भी लालू जी से बड़े कोई भी लीडर आरजेडी में नहीं है और लालू जी के नाम को ही भुलाया जाता है और लालू जी के नाम पे ही वोट मिल रहा है। नहीं तो तेजस्वी और तेज प्रताप को खुद रोजगार के लिए किसी और राज्य में जाकर के और नौकरी ढूंढनी पड़ती, और कांग्रेसियों और आरजेडी वालों ने उन दोनों अनएम्प्लॉयड लड़कों को नौकरी देने के लिए कृतज्ञ संकल्पित हैं और उस दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं।
आनंद झा जी, आप खुद ही एडमिट कर रहे हैं कि क्या हाल है अभी भी उस प्रदेश का, कि 3 साल 15 साल के गवर्नेंस के बाद भी लोगों को बाहर जाके नौकरी ढूंढनी पड़ रही है, अब चाहे वो लालू के ही बेटे हो या कोई और भी हो। ये जो सिचुएशन है, ये कब बिहार की बदलेगी?
अन्वी जी, पूरे सबसे मैं पहले बता देता हूं कि बिहार में जो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट है उसके पीछे सबसे बड़ा जिम्मेदार कांग्रेस और आरजेडी है। घुसपैठिए जो है बांग्लादेशी, वो बिहार के स्थानीय रोजगार को पर कब्जा कर लेते हैं और वैसी स्थिति में बिहार के लोग अपने रोजगार की तलाश के लिए अन्य राज्यों में जाते हैं। उस पर मैं ध्यान केंद्रित
कोई नहीं मानेगा। ये तो आनंद झा जी, अभी एक तो कैंपेन मोड अब खत्म करिए, वो हो गया इलेक्शन, और ये तो बहुत ही मुश्किल है बात मानना जो आप कह रहे हैं। आप कह रहे हैं बिहार में रोजगार है लेकिन बिहारी के लिए नहीं है।
बिहार में रोजगार है लेकिन उस पर में बांग्लादेशी और अन्य घुसपैठिए जो हैं वो कब्जा किए हुए बैठे रहते हैं, जिसके ये बड़ा मुद्दा है और इसको जब तक सॉर्ट आउट नहीं किया जाएगा तब तक स्थानीय रोजगार पर में बाहरियों के लिए कब्जा होगा और बिहारियों के लिए बाहर जाने की जरूरत है।
चलिए, क्विक कमेंट फ्रॉम सुनील Ahire on that, and before we let both Anand Jha and Sunil Ahire go. Yes, Mr. Ahire, respond to what he's saying.
See, what he is saying is like today elections are going on, or election campaign is going on. Today, ground reality is that we are sitting for the result. We are waiting for the result already. So let's not comment on that. But it is a fact that unemployment is the highest there, and they are not able to give it, not able to provide. Last 15 years, a very long year was the 15 years anti-incumbency is that. So what they were doing 15 years, I am asking them, why did not they brought
anti-incumbency nahi, confidence of the Bihar people. All the Biharis are having confidence in Nitish Kumar and NDA government. You are
नीतीश कुमार जी ने इंडस्ट्री क्यों नहीं लगाई? देखो अभी योगी जी बोल रहे हैं ना फिल्म इंडस्ट्री लगाएंगे वहां पर, तो ऐसा नीतीश कुमार जी ने 15 साल वहां इंडस्ट्रीज क्यों नहीं लगाई? बिहार के लोगों को बाहर क्यों जाना पड़ा? बिहार के लोग, हम देखिए कांग्रेस पार्टी का एक ब्रॉडर व्यू है, हम
बिहार के लोगों को बाहर जाने के पीछे दूसरा कारण मैं बताता हूं, अराजकता बिहार में आरजेडी और कांग्रेस।
आनंद झा जी, अब तो चलिए, लेट्स कंजर्व एनर्जी. देयर इज नो पॉइंट इन येलिंग दिस मॉर्निंग. वी आर हैविंग नाइस इंटरेस्टिंग कन्वर्सेशंस माइनस द येलिंग. आनंद झा, you did a great job throughout this campaign season with all the debates, even on our show. Now just let's wait and watch what the results are like. Let me in fact just update our viewers that NDA has now got 2 leads coming in from the Bhojpur region. NDA also has 1 lead from Mithila region, where Mahagathbandhan has also registered its first lead. So that's one each there, and like we said, in the Tirhut region, Mahagathbandhan has one lead. So those are the numbers on your screens right now. 3 for NDA, 2 for Mahagathbandhan. Mr. Sanjay Singh, you wanted to make a point. Go ahead.
नहीं, पहला थोड़ा जो पार्टी के स्पोक्सपर्सन्स कह रहे थे, थोड़ा कॉमेडी का तड़का भी सीरियस डिबेट में होना चाहिए. So that point also should be given to them. On a slightly serious note, what my senior was saying here, and the Congress spokesperson was saying there, in the sense, RJD is not Lalu Prasad Yadav's RJD today. This is Tejaswi Yadav's RJD.
I was saying here's the possibility
So,
to get out.
Tejaswi Yadav's total existence is that of Lalu Yadav's son. He is identified as Lalu Yadav's son. And don't forget that there is often a difference between Chehra and actual party, something which Govindacharya pronounced long back and had suffered for that. So, Tejaswi Yadav, the party's actual rank and file, the party leaders, they are essentially made of that RJD mold, and that is very aggressive, that is very unruly. Even in the rallies and subsequently RJD supporters, the way they behaved with other supporters, rival supporters and voters, that cannot be taken away. Just as in Uttar Pradesh, we saw that Akhilesh Yadav's Samajwadi Party was different from Mulayam Singh Yadav's Samajwadi Party, which ultimately proved that there was no difference at all. So, to pronounce at this stage that RJD is going to be different from RJD of Lalu Prasad Yadav, God willing, Lalu Prasad Yadav will be on bail, out on bail, and will be alive and kicking in Bihar politics again. Even if he is in jail, he is actually controlling and commanding the party and their alliance partners. All matters go to him in jail, in hospital, so to say. So that's to be on very optimistic side. So therefore, for a while, let us all be cautious about that.
Yeah.
On that particular count, as to whose parties,
I actually wanted to discuss this earlier as well. And one thing that we need to keep in mind is, irrespective of what you do during a campaign rally and the perception you want to build, and Vinay has often said this, Tejaswi Yadav is very smart when it comes to the, building that image and building that perception, which may work for him in terms of being that Yuva Neta who's campaigning for a change and who's campaigning for jobs, but he's at the end of the day all of 31, Vinay. It's not going to be so easy to really, uproot and weed out what is essentially within the DNA of the RJD.
Yeah, look, one point just that I wanted to add is, I think most people who probably don't live in the state or are outside of it make one mistake while analyzing every election, which is that we tend to give labels and believe that there is a monolith that exists in the way people vote. It doesn't exist that way, certainly not in the Hindi belt.
Yeah.
In Bihar, for instance, you can never divorce what RJD does from Lalu Yadav for two very simple reasons. Bihar's politics, or Bihar's way of thinking, has three distinct phases, right? There is a phase post-election, post-independence, which was dominated by the Congress. Congress largely had the support of the upper caste, which was the Brahmins, the Thakurs, the Kaysts, and the Bhumihars. Then there was a second phase, which was the socialist movement phase, right? When the dominance of the upper caste was being challenged. Remember, there is also, all politics is about ultimately society and about economy. Everything is linked to that ultimately. And in Bihar and UP, caste and religion become a play as well, right? Now, this makes it very complicated. Now, once the assertion of what happened in the land reform, and I'm sure Nilanjan will bear it, but in Bihar, the land reform movement was a failure, as opposed to Bengal. Ownership of land became a battle on the grounds of caste as well, because the upper caste were dominating the lower caste. The Bhudan movement or whatever was attempted by even by Vinoba Bhave, the several laws that were brought into Bihar never really worked. In fact, the administration and the bureaucracy was so full of upper caste bureaucrats that they never really allowed that to happen. That resentment is so deep and it has gone on for so long that ultimately through the 80s and I think till about 2005 or so, you had caste violence which was there in probably most of the districts, including several senas that existed openly, from Ranbir Sena to...
That's the reason for the emergence of CPI-ML.
Absolutely, that's the reason. The MCC became the CPI-ML.
The largest left ally of the RJD.
Absolutely. Now, my point is that Lalu is not about Lalu Yadav per se. The upper OBCs, which are the Yadavs, for instance, do identify that he gave them a voice.
Yeah.
They were able to take on the higher caste, the upper caste, so to speak, the Bhumihars or the Rajputs or the Kaists, because he changed the game in 2005. And they are unlikely to forget that so easily. In fact, this particular, if they do well today, they will see themselves so it's not one monolithic Dalit community. I mean, they will see themselves as coming back into the reckoning. So I don't see Tejaswi's emergence as a complete divorce from what Lalu was doing.
No,
it's always going to be out.
No, and it's not just about what Tejaswi is doing or Lalu is doing. It's actually what I was saying was what happens if they do come to power, and how much of Tejaswi telling his people, let's not resort to violence, is really going to impact versus what you otherwise see in RJD's DNA, and that gets reflected. Just very quickly, Mr. Nilanjan, I want to bring our viewers' attention to two facts. One, Tejaswi right now is leading in Ragapur. So the initial leads have also given one to Tejaswi Yadav, and Chandrika Rai is also leading as well. So that's one lead for JDU.
That's very interesting, in fact.
Yes, so Chandrika Rai at this point.
Personally, for Lalu Yadav's family,
Yes.
given the kind of situation that was there.
Not so good for Tej Pratap.
Go ahead, please.
You know, politics is the art of experimentation. Now, if you look at the JDU, RJD candidate distribution, they have reached out to other communities also this time. So it's a process. Let's see what comes out of this process after the elections, whether they win or they sit in opposition, and how the party evolves. So I think, you know, the RJD has to be looked from a slightly different prism. I'm not saying that there is a radical transformation. Radical transformations do not take place. If it would be suicidal for the party to suddenly, you know, change its path. But I see it as a process of evolution. So it needs to be tracked over the next few years.